Hello and welcome to the webinar. Today we are going to talk about how to bring your traffic from 0 to 1 million or over that with limited resources, and how to build a scalable SEO program that actually works. And our main speaker, featured speaker, is Dimitri Drakatas. Hi Dimitri, how are you?
Hi everyone, I'm great. I'm looking forward to sharing the deck with you and answer the questions that the audience might have. I'm really excited about this specific one because even like a couple of years ago when I first started implementing those strategies, I was most cases just one man show, so I had to come up with ways on implementing smart and efficient approaches on building, scalable, really fast scaling strategies and SEO. And yeah, I'm very glad to present this and share, any interesting approaches and interesting hints and tips to other people. And hopefully, I inspire through that people who may feel that they don't have enough resources, they don't have enough manpower to, scale, um, match their traffic or and their revenue that comes from that. And they will start, thinking outside of the box.
I think that you are very lucky, everyone who watches us now, because you'll have full pockets of wisdom and knowledge, and you'll be able to scale your project, whatever resources you have, and wherever you are with Dimitris, because Dimitris has extensive knowledge in that. He's a global growth leader. He's got a decade of experience in SEO, ASO, and he specializes on content-led growth. He has worked for Revolut, Beard, Beanot, Walkable, and now he's working with Wise. And he's got proved success everywhere he used to work, and he can translate your users to your revenue growth. And so prepare your questions, prepare to make notes, prepare to implement everything that you hear, and of course, engage. Feel free to join our chat. Feel free to ask any questions you have, and I'll ask Dimitris them as well. So also, please let us know where you're from, where you are joining us from, and what do you expect from this webinar? Maybe some problems that you have, maybe some questions that you have other than AI and content, because we'll touch upon them as well. So Dimitris, I'm passing to you.
Of course, of course. Um, cool. So yeah, as said today, and as Celestia shared with you, we're going to talk about how we scale, how we build a strategy that can help you scale from literally 0 to 1 million. I think this could apply not just for literally 0, but also like for people and for companies, websites that have been stuck, let's say, on very low or very standard, like they have reached a plateau with their traffic and they want to grow but they cannot grow. So I think it's very important to check the slides and ask as many questions as you can. I'm ready to literally answer everything. So yeah, a few words about me. As I said, I'm a senior growth and marketing leader. Have been doing SEO and generally being on the growth marketing landscape for over a decade now. Have worked for kind of like different type of companies, from scale ups, unicorn scale ups like Revolut, now Wise, to Series C companies like Workable, which are recruiting software, and like even smaller ones, pre-Series A or Series A, like Peanut and Paired. Um, the common thing that all of these companies have are like, let's say, around startup ecosystem. I really enjoy working for startups. I'm also like working as on the side as consulting as a consultant, so I'm helping companies, mostly startups or SaaS companies, on their on scaling their organic growth. And yeah, I've also like tried to contribute to the community as much as I can. This translates to being a co-author into Amazon best-selling books, being a pro bono mentor in a few initiatives, and also being a frequent speaker on conferences and acting as a judge. But let's leave the intro. I don't feel I'm a bit shy, so sorry if I feel like a bit red here. So yep. Let's start with a few first words. So we take the assumption you just join the company and you need to prepare your issue strategy, or you're just, I said, um, you're already been with the company for a couple of years or months, and you've seen your traffic being stuck. You've seen that you reach a plateau and you cannot grow. What's next? What you need to do? I think I would start from kind of like the exactly opposite way. So why most SEO programs fail? I feel like first there are misaligned incentives. Um, People focus on vanity metrics versus the actual growth, and this is something that it's always a red flag. Organic traffic should be part of your um, um, main metrics, but should be just the very beginning, the very entry level metric for you. When you start applying your strategy, this should be the very first metric. This should be a metric for you to get an understanding of on whether this is working or not. But as a next stage, more important metrics, more business oriented metrics like user revenue growth are the ones that should be the important ones. Secondly, is like people are try to focus on short-term hacks instead of long-term compounding. Again, a good strategy, a good SEO scalable strategy should focus on the long run. Should have parts that are not limited to short-term impact, but long-term impact. And of course, another thing that I've seen, and I believe it's crucial, like there's no alignment with the product and the brand. So I'm mentioning this on the later slides, but you'll see that there are a lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of professionals who focus on the keyword-led SEO instead of product-led SEO. I'm not saying you're not writing about you're not going after about keywords, because we're SEOs, but at the same time, those keywords should be selected very wisely, and should be definitely an alignment between your product, the user intent, and the brand, because writing and going after random keywords is not going to get you anywhere. And yeah, there is I will be just an SEO graveyard, and literally website that's stuck at 50K visits forever. I just put a random chart here from a website. As you can see, the past year or so, they just flat to slightly down trend on traffic. And this is what we want to avoid. This is what we want to tackle from this deck, right? I want to share some actionable steps, some actionable tips that can help you move away from this, really boring, let's say, graph, and get to the right upper trend. So let's start with let's go directly to the main focus of this webinar. So the SCABUS SEO framework. So how to set up your SEO strategy for success. Here I created like a small, let's say, flywheel diagram that summarizes my framework, which afterwards is being break down in different steps, in different parts. First of all, is like crafting your own strategy, like the most obvious step. Then there's the research phase. So when you craft your strategy, then you start researching. That includes keyword research, competitor analysis, demand, and overall total addressable market understanding. Then I always suggest applying a holistic approach. Of course, um, different products, different companies differ with each other, and the same applies to the niche. So sometimes you might see that you cannot apply everything in one at once, and not everything works on every niche, on every sector. However, applying a holistic approach means that you don't silo. You're not working silos, so you're not limit yourself with one, let's say, tactic, one strategy, but you try to expand your strategy. You try to expand the way you tackle your let's say um, difficulties with more than one approaches, with one more than one tactics, more than one. Like you have an arsenal full of weapons, if I could use this term. Fourth, and like very important, like measure your strategy, right? So I believe that overall, no matter how good your strategy is, you need to make sure that you're monitoring, measuring the impact, right? So a good strategy is only good when you can prove it. So if you cannot prove that your strategy is working, there's then there's no need to apply the strategy. There's no way to um, describe your strategy as good or as successful. And finally, I think making adjustments when and where is needed is very important. So you need to be flexible, and by measuring your strategy, you will be able to understand A, what is working, B, what is not working, C, what is working better compared to other initiatives, and where you should put most of your effort, or what you need to change, right? So be flexible and efficient is very crucial for this approach. So starting with the very I'm sorry,
Okay.
the very basic foundation. Let me drink some water. So first, you need to understand your strategy and market fit, right? You need to define the why before the what, because it's something that I have seen as a common pitfall at the very beginning. You need to find your ICP, your ideal customer profiles. You need to understand what are your unique selling propositions as business, and what pain points you are solving through them. And finally, you need to realize what's your total addressable market. So, what's your in nutshell? If I had to summarize this slide, I'd say you need to understand what's your audience. You need to find exactly what your target personas are, because if you and how your product, how your business can help them, can solve their problems. Because at the end of the day, no matter how good your strategy is, these are the things that will make you convert. These are the things that will make your strategy profitable, your channel profitable. So I said I share with you the flywheel diagram of the overall framework, but um, let's dive deep into each part of this framework. Um, just like a small intro about those parts of the parts. Um, I'm I'm starting with the ones that are like vital, and then I'm trying to break down the framework in different parts. I said some parts may not be very accurate, or may not be fully working on you, so you can skip them and you can apply some of them. But overall, these are like these are parts that have been proven successful, and I also try to make sure that are as up to date as they can based on AI. AI. Um, First, we start with excessive keyword research, right? I think it's obvious. A lot of people could say, "Aha, you're not sharing something new. You're not sharing something that is um, surprising, but I think it's one of the most foundational steps. A lot of people do keyword research. Actually, most of the people do keyword research, but um, not everyone does extensive keyword research the way that I want to describe it. And when describing the keyword research extensive, I mean you need to perform a very detailed keyword research in order to understand what's the overall demand out there, what are the different topics and keywords you want to cover around your niche, and generally get a complete understanding of how competitive your space is. Um, you need to go after, spend hours understanding um, and breaking down keywords by topic, by persona, by um, problem your product is solving, and then break down its keyword or its topic into subtopics. Um, Part of the detailed slash extensive keyword research is the competitor analysis. Um, it should be um, it should help you identify your main search competitors. Sometimes your search competitors are not exactly the same as your direct product or business competitors. So you need to understand whether a business competitor is doing a good job on SEO and you need to outrank them, or your search competitor is someone who is not directly competing with your business, but still it's competing there very directly with your potential organic traffic and revenue. Um, Through this analysis, you need to be able to answer a few questions. Part of them are like, what are the most successful stuff your competitors are doing? What are your opportunities there? What are their weaknesses? What they are missing, and you can start doing and kind of like outrank them. Um, and yeah, last but not least, they should act. The competitor analysis should act as part of inspiration on your keyword research, like speeding up your keyword research actually, because successful competitors will give you an idea of what type of topics, what type of keywords they're going after, and then it's your job to actually associate those topics, those keywords with your brand, with your product, and how you can, whether this is a good fit, right? Because some competitors, as said at the beginning, sometimes your search competitors are not your direct competitors. So even if your search competitor is going after a keyword that maybe seem relevant to your niche, just because they're not a direct business competitor, the problem they want to solve is not similar to yours. So maybe there's no point for you to write about those topics or write about those keywords. For this research, I think you should use AI. It's important to make, with the current landscape and the times we are living in, I think making AI part of your arsenal is like a no-brainer. You can use LLMs and AI chats for multiple processes to help you with multiple processes. Um, a few of them are like generate keyword and topic ideas. You can throw them some of your existing ideas and like ask them to kind of expand. Secondly, you can ask them to analyze your competitors. So part of what you're doing in that I explained in the previous slide could be done by AI. So you throw them the competitors and you ask them to find strengths and weaknesses through analyzing the website, or even like if you want to take it to the next level based on your profile, based on your business, based on your USPs, you then ask them to create your targeted personas and ICPs. That means you get an analysis of your targeted personas, your potential customers, your potential visitors that will convert, and then you have already your targeted, your potential audience that you want to go after. Um, I mentioned at the beginning that, well, around keyword research and keywords in general, that you need to think very strategic. You need to think of not going after random keywords, but building topic clusters. Um, your research should result on identifying the most relevant topic clusters, and these should be based on, again, on your product and the problems you are solving to the users. And overall, the when you think of topic clusters, you need to equal them to topical authority. So by covering a topic cluster, you're building topical authority. Topical authority is very important in our has been very important for SEO over the past few years. I believe it's even more important now that AI AI overviews or AI chats are out there. Brand awareness and brand strength, along with strong topical authority. So making sure that search engines or AI chats and LLMs associate your brand with a few topics, a few clusters is crucial. Um, also, at the same time, though, it totally depends on the demand out there and your research. But in most cases, when you identify a few topic clusters, you need to prioritize and you need to um, think strategic, and don't try to go after all of them at once. It's difficult, but we need to make sure. I have a couple of questions. Shall we start answering them real time? I don't mind.
Okay, let's
But
do that.
yeah, so first question comes from Hans: whether AI will kill traditional SEO, and do keywords are still important? Yes, I'd say, starting from the last part of your question, yes, keywords are still important, but you need to, as said at the beginning, think, move away from the keyword-led SEO and focus on the product-led SEO. So you need to associate the keywords with topics, and the topics with actual problems that your product is solving. So what is your product about? What are the problems the users are facing, and how the product is solving those problems? So you need to associate the keywords to this framework. Um, and for the other part of the question, I don't think AI will kill traditional SEO. Um, it will make it evolve a bit. In my opinion, they're like, so there's this hype on ChatGPT and other AI chats, which is fair, right? They're revolutionizing the way, not SEO works, the way everything works. But again, you if you see the numbers at this time, still they're very far behind from Google. And there was a recent SMRAS research that showcased that actually ChatGPT and other AI chats are not stealing traffic; they're actually expanding the searches. So with those tools, we see that there are more searches in general. So, and also, like, there are people who. So and there was another research showcase that um, people who are using ChatGPT are then going on Google. That means people don't fully trust, let's say, the answer of ChatGPT, and they want to also to research the same question, the same um, queries on Google. What I'm trying to say is that they're part of those things or tools will be part of SEO. The way SEO works won't. I don't think it will change. I'm just mentioning a lot of stuff, but there was another presentation from Google and Danny Sullivan where that was a slide saying, um, good SEO is good translate is good GEO. That means, and if you think about it, like what doesn't work is what already didn't work. Keyword stuffing, thinking of keywords, thinking of only traffic, thinking only of search volume, and nothing like that. And kind of like not covering in full the topic, but just try to add fluffy stuff just to go after the keywords. This was not working already for SEO for the past years, and yeah, this is not working for AI chats and LLMs. But what's working on SEO? So high quality content, no keyword stuffing, actually capturing the intent, providing helpful information and answering exactly the questions there. Try to move away from, okay, I'm just adding random questions and keywords just to add more keywords on the text, but actually adding value to the article, to the page. This is working, and this is the exact same thing is working for AI chats and LLMs. And then answering the next question from Malaysia, I prefer Ahrefs. I really like them. I've tried a lot of tools, but in my personal opinion, Ahrefs is like the most user friendly. But yeah, generally, I think the tools that are out there are very good. So I always, when somebody recommends, somebody asks, "What's your favorite tool?" or "What tool should I subscribe to?" I'd say the one that just try some of them and use the one that you like most in terms of user interface and friendliness, whatever it's more friendly to you. So moving on the next slide, I said like really tied up to the question. So product-led approach, avoid the simple keyword-led SEO. Your strategy should always start with the user needs and how the product will tackle them as part of your inspiration for your content strategy. So when you try integrating user needs in your product with your SEO strategy, you need to think of keywords as part, like as a description to the solutions your product is offering to the user problems, if I could use this um, description. Here I'm just trying to do a quick recap on what we've said so far on the, let's say, first slash more foundational parts of the framework. Keyword selection is crucial. You need to make sure that you choose your keywords wisely. Try to summarize a key, product-led keywords. B, um, work on topic clusters. Focus on demand, like actual demand, not going after keywords that don't have demand. And also the think of the competitiveness of the keywords and the topic cluster you're going after, because realistically you need to think smart and strategic on which topics you're going after. And yeah, I think there is it should be a mention on zero clicks and AI overviews. Right now, I believe AI overviews are like part of feature snippet. It's like the evolution of feature snippets, if I could use. And some people could say it's a mix. I believe I kind of like share the same thinking. It's a mix of feature snippets and evolution and zero click searches. What does it mean in a nutshell? There are keywords and queries that generate AI overviews. I hope everyone is familiar with AI overviews, but yeah, there are keywords and queries that generate AI overviews, where the answer that the AI overviews provide is fully covering the question, right? So there's no need for the user, for the searcher to click on the either the mentions or the lower organic search results for more information. I'll give you an example. Like, what's the transfer limit for I don't know, HSBC account UK? This is someone is looking for just a number, right? So if AI overview is pulling this number for them and says the limit is like £10,000 every month by default and has some citations, okay, but I'm just looking for that. It's kind of a similar situation like zero clicks a few years ago when they first appeared. Um, what's the time in Los Angeles, or time difference between Los Angeles and Seattle? You get a number, it's 5 hours difference, that's it. You're covered. Okay, some people may feel that, okay, I want the actual calculator because I just I'm so lazy that I don't want to do the calculation on my own. I just want to place my current time and see the actual how this is actually translated into, I don't know, Los Angeles time. But still, the majority will feel covered. So when you select your keywords, when you do, you start applying, you start your research. Part of the research should be this one as well. So you need to make sure that you avoid covering topics and keywords that generate zero clicks, or the AI overview is answering the topic in full. Um, because at the end, you need to. This strategy is about scaling fast, and this type of search results can only slow you down because you will invest time and money on going after those topics, but the impact won't be that good, won't be that high, because exactly you may see tons of impressions but lower visits, and you know so goes on. um cool. Next, I see a question about whether local I should change with different lamps coming with the fray with the local map.
Would the local mark back remain relevant?
Yeah, I'd say yes. Right now, I don't think that LMs are touching that much this type of searches. So yeah, I don't see any. I don't expect any change in the upcoming year. Um,
Maybe with agentic space, they will
yeah,
change.
yeah, maybe, but I think it's one of the things that right now I wouldn't feel that, um, let's say, anxious about that compared to other types, other aspects. You need to think smart, right? And I'm trying to here to kind of like give you a timeline. First of all, there are keywords that you cannot rank for the given time, so you need to set things smart and avoid, because again, the overall goal is like climbing the rankings and the traffic that will convert, right? So generate as much traffic as you want in a short period of time that will translate to user growth, revenue growth, leads, whatever is your main metric, installs, whatever is your main metrics. So um, with the current SEO landscape evolution, you need to build strong topical authority. Um, you should pick a few topics relevant to your business, relevant to your product, and find slash cover all the potential keywords around those topics. That's the way you kind of like build topical authority and enhance your expertise there. You're putting your authority first. And from a more technical point of view, this helps you a lot with your internal link building, because the more relevant topics you're going after, the more relevant keywords underneath a more broad topic you're writing about, the easier the internal link building. That translates to better crawlability of the website and more indexation. Um, AI for programmatic content, right? So, what scalable SEO framework would include, programmatic SEO and programmatic pages, right? I should be, really crazy not including programmatic SEO as part of the steps, but here I'm taking it. I'm not putting a lot of time on the actual programmatic SEO itself, but I'm mentioning and trying to share um, pages that can leverage AI for content creation. How this translates? Normally, programmatic SEO pages don't require as much in-depth content compared to blog or articles, this type of content. And they consist of more templated content and some part of unique content, right? So, from my experience, AI can help you a lot with that. So you can use AI and trial and error, different prompts to create the templated parts or even the unique part. Um, Again, of course, with having in mind that using SCTs, the AI generated content might not be it's not the ideal scenario. You need to play around. You need to always add a human touch. But I think, especially for this type of content that doesn't require that much research, that doesn't require that much in-depth input, and sometimes it's short term, I'd say um, we should make sure that um, we leverage AI. So, question about Alicia: what about Google penalizing programmatic content in the response
Yeah,
page?
you
Yeah,
might have seen that, especially with startups. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah. I've seen a lot of questions, a lot of actually examples of companies doing um, trying to leverage AI for content creation. So I don't know, they use some slightly black or gray hat SEO techniques where they even like steal the sitemaps from other competitors. They use those sitemaps for keyword inspiration. So they steal the keyword, all the content from the sitemaps. They translate the content into keywords, and then they ask AI tools to write for to write about those keywords. Um, I'd say when if you want, I'd say AI is here to stay. Also, there was a recent research from Ahrefs showing that around 80% of the content out there has AI. So that means it was part of this content was created by AI. That means like AI is everywhere. what what you need to do though is not using the AI generated content as it is. Um, it's something that we have also spoken internally at Wise, that we kind of moving from a um, human written draft to AI generated draft. That means you use AI for drafting your content, you use for inspiration, for research, for drafting parts of your content, structuring parts of your content, but the final outcome should always be um, humanly checked and touched. Um, I'm not saying ever using the AI generated content as it is, but using AI tools to we, as part of the content creation process, is the way to go. It's inevitable, and there are a lot of prompts that you can use in order to let's say fight a bit the um, the robotic slash AI non-human language, right? Um, but yeah, as a recap, I'd say that programmatic content normally requires less in-depth content, and AI tools can be very helpful for here. So you kind of speed up the creation process. And again, everything that we share now today is should be part of creating a scalable SEO program that A works, B translates to exponential growth, and theoretically will require less manpower and resources. So with AI, you're just you, the AI. I mentioned it before, like the demand, but in this slide, I want to kind of focus a bit more. So I want to, when saying focus on demand, that means, although it might be obvious, um, you need to find topics and keywords that generate the highest demand, and there's the good ratio between effort and impact. So how much effort you're putting in order to create this content, and what's the impact. So you need to have a very good creation, a very good ratio about that. Also, part of this of your exercise here should be also the competitiveness of those topics. So demand, of course, it's obvious, but if I have a high demanded topic that is super difficult, super competitive, then I might need to rethink whether I go after that or no. Search intent, again, might be obvious, but I've seen so many examples of people not paying attention to that. And by search intent, I'm not saying um, um, I'm not only referring to the actual user intent, but actually to spend time on analyzing the SERPs, understand for the keyword you're going after, understand what's the search intent behind this, how the top search competitors are approaching this topic. Because I've seen people choosing a keyword, choosing a topic, and say, okay, we're gonna write and go after that. Great, but the outcome is completely outside of the context of the actual top search results, or it's already kind of behind. Some examples could be you may see people, you may see a series of keywords being targeted by, I mean, I'll share a real time example, right? So with Wise, we part of we have like a few scalable landing page ideas. And recently we wanted to go after the series of keywords payment methods in X country, right? So payment methods in Japan, payment methods in. So if we look at, if you were like a bit blind in terms of what's the actual steps look like, we will write, okay, we'll write about the payment methods in Japan, and we'll mention, these are the payment methods and some, structure. However, if you analyze the top search results, you A, understand the competitiveness, B, you'll check how those competitors are approaching and what things are they not doing well, what's your competitive advantage ahead of them, how much effort you need to put. And with all this, we it was much easier for us then to create a template, much easier for us to calculate the effort we want to put there, and be very realistic, also more realistic, more accurate on our performance. Because if, let's say, um, the top three search results have an average domain authority of 90, and you have a domain authority of 50 or 40, then you may need to rethink when you do your projection, you try to quantify the impact of your pages. You may think of rethink and say, okay, I'm going with an average position of 5 or 4 instead of average position of 2 or 3, because realistically it's very competitive. Um, then you need to think of user signals and the user experience. Um, I'm not sure how many of you are familiar, but the past year, Google has been facing a lawsuit, and they had to, in the US, and they had to share a few, indirectly, they had to share a few of the ranking signals, right? And part of that was the CTR and the time on page. Although people, although these are like very basic, and people may not spend time on optimizing them, they're crucial. That means you may have a solid SEO strategy, you may have a great high quality content, but if your site and your page speed is crap, then you have a problem. If your page experience is not great, that means you have tons of AdSense or like pop-ups or CTAs that's or like the fonts are very small or whatever, like other examples like that, then you have an issue. If the person, or like even if the content is not that good and the person like bounces by the time they just be on the page, and they say, okay, it's like crappy because I use like a clickbait title, and that's not what I and the actual info is not there. Example here could be all these actual pages that have been penalized by Google, where you could, I'm pretty sure everyone in the chat have in the webinar have done a research about, like, okay, Lost season 7 when it's going out, but there's no actual Lost season 7 because Lost season 6 was the final one. But then there are like so many articles saying Lost season 7 uh, um, um, official date release and some stuff, and then they were like full of fluff, and at the end, actually there won't be no Lost. So I'm just asking for something. You're just clickbaiting. At the end, you're not answering myself. There's another question that is really good. I'll just let me finish this slide. So overall, I think the things that I kind of mentioned are everything is falling under on technical SEO. And if you have to summarize everything, the easier you make it to Google to crawl and understand your content and your pages, the better results you'll have. The more difficult you make it for them to understand what you're writing about, what you're talking about, or like accessing your website, your web pages, the worst results you get. And the same thing applies to AI chats, AI bots like ChatGPT bot or whatever. It's the exact same thing. And this falls back to what we said. If you do a good job on SEO, you also could do a good job on AI optimization on GEO. So question that is like, besides strong citations, backlinks, how will improve the visibility? I'd say right now, two things seem to work. The strong brand. So backlinks are good, but improving your brand awareness and associate your brand with the problems, the topics, your niche is very crucial. And the second thing that seems to be working is like the freshness of your content. So the more fresh the content it is, the more fresh the updates are, the better. So it seems that they prefer fresh content, so content not older than 6 months ideally. Hope that answers your question. So another thing when it comes to scaling your building a scalable SEO program, many people tend to focus on English content. I can get it if your business is purely US, UK, or English focused. But if not, then why you limit yourself? Keyword research and content plan for non-English um, languages. A, they are less competitive. B, there's a lot of demand. You can check, like, imagine how many people are speaking Spanish. Probably there are more than English. And um, it's proven. I mean, not that Google have has accepted or like shared this publicly, but um, um, both from my own expertise, but also from experience, but also like from other people who have worked on international SEO. The algorithm, the non-English, non-US, UK algorithm, um, is not that sophisticated. So that means it's easier for you to rank. Some stuff that are more difficult, more sophisticated in terms of the ranking system and how rank brain works on US slash English um, content and Google results is not the same. Uh, okay. My bad, but still, like 600 million is like too big, right? The total addressable market is huge. Um, so, moving on the next one, branding terms. Yeah, I like this one. So far we focused a lot on non-branded demand, right? But there's also like a good unlock on the branded one. What does it mean? Um, I think it's a very big opportunity that many companies, many people miss. So you need to check whether you rank for all your branded terms. That means, like, I can share many examples. I have here some of them, but that means a there is like there are many people looking for promo codes or discount on your brand. There are many people asking whether your brand is legit, or there is a free version of your app or whatever. So all of these are in many cases can be considered as untapped opportunity, right? Because you're not covering those terms, and there are other companies, other websites that are covering. And since we're talking about branded terms, it's easy for you to create a basic landing page answering the query, and you're by far um, number one. Next one, existing content. Okay, we started like by the assumption you just joined, but there's also like the assumption of like you have been working for a company or you joined a company that has done some SEO before, but is a bit um, is a bit um, plateaued. So existing content can. I'm a big fan of optimizing existing content because can be um, it could be like a hidden gem for you. AI content, existing content is already out there, right? And if it's not converting, that means if you're not generating traffic, it's an untapped opportunity for you. So don't just focus on new content. New content, it's sexy, it's good, but as I said before, then focus also on existing content because it will incrementally add more traffic. So again, even and something else, like even if you start from scratch, so literally you have no content, make sure you should monitor your content performance every few months and act where it's needed. That means if you do have when you do have you start from literally zero and you create like 100 or 200 pages, realistically not all of them will rank pretty high. So after a couple of months, just get back, monitor and track what's underperforming and act on that. Um, Also, different content types, right? Um, uh, the methodology and the framework here is not limited on blog content or landing pages. It's a mix of everything. So in order to unlock exponential growth, you need to test and create different types of content. Again, I don't think everything will apply to everyone, but I'm pretty sure that you cannot limit on only one type of content, like blog or articles. Um, Online tools, calculators, comparison pages are part of them, right? And in those cases, most of the time, the intent is even higher, right? It's higher than the actual, basic informational blog content. So please try and test different types of content. Um, um, Competitors
And
demand.
we have around 5 minutes left.
Yeah, I'll try to be very
So,
quick. I'll try to be very quick.
yeah.
So competitors demand, I think, uh, again, it's something that I've seen a lot of companies, a lot of people missing. This as an opportunity. What does it mean? It means that you have your branded keywords, your branded terms that we covered before, but there's also like competitors branded terms. That means you can simply write about your competitors, find their most searched branded terms, and write about them. How, like an example of how what we do in Wise, like have a few, like have a lot of competitors, like banks, neobanks, like digital banks, whatever. Revolut, as an example. I used to work for Revolut. That's a competitor. So how Revolut works, or how to top up your Revolut account. The intent is pretty high because someone has a Revolut account with like a direct competitor of Wise, and is looking on how to top up, and then boom, lands on the Wise blog. We're just giving you the exact step-by-step guide on how you top up your Revolut account, but at the same time, we introduce Wise. Oh, by the way, there's Wise. It's a better alternative because it gives you better rates, and yeah, that's it. So it's again. In many cases, like the demand is pretty high, and the intent is great. Plan ahead. I think I said at the beginning, one of the reasons that most of the SEO programs fail is like people have a short-term thinking. So when you choose your content, when you choose your strategy, don't limit yourself in a 1 month or 2 months period. Focus on the next 6 or 12 months. This will help you be more flexible, and also it will help you understand the overall demand that's out there and what prioritize the things that you need to. And then, assuming that you did everything, all of that, will you say you're done? I'd say no, you're not done, because you need to set up your KPIs and measurement, right? I said, is there any proper strategy without goal setting and tracking? I don't believe so. So you need to measure your strategy. In my opinion, I just try to keep it, generic, and broad, but very, obvious. So organic traffic and visits should be the most obvious measure you can start with in order to assess the performance of your strategy, because you just started on your Scalable SEO program, but um, the most important metrics then come afterwards, and it's saying like organic traffic could consider as an okay metric for the beginning, but at the end of the day, um, uh, more core business metrics are the ones that matter most: installs, user leads, sales, revenue growth. Um, Finally, you need to make adjustments. That means nothing is written in stone. If you need to be flexible. If something doesn't work, like you need to monitor and measure your strategy. And if something is not working, replace it or stop it. If something seems to be very promising, focus more on that. Um, so, a question that I see here, yeah, I'll just share two examples of where I apply this in some companies I've worked with, and then I'll quickly answer some questions. So the peanut example, as you can see, I joined around 30K, and we reached around 3 million in a couple of months. Like the peanut example, actually, like from literally zero non-branding to more than 2.5 million organic visits in just 12 months. And same with paired. So you can see there's this graph. I cannot, unfortunately, cannot share because I don't have access now, but this traffic translated to business metrics that were important. So yeah, thanks a lot. I'll try to answer any question because of time. So which performance metrics are more important to track when testing different content formats, conversion rates?
Which performance
Also,
metrics are more important to track when
yeah,
testing different content formats, conversion rates or growth in search rankings? This one, last question. And
yeah, I'll say you need to use a progressive evolving framework, right? So at the beginning, search rankings slash organic traffic should be the first one you start with because it's the most obvious metric. But then conversion rate and actual conversions should be the most important ones. And that will help you both in terms of assessing the intent, whether the topic is good, and secondly, whether there's a need of CRO, right? Because sometimes you've done everything well, great in terms of search engine optimization, but when it comes to conversion rate optimization, the business is doing really bad, and it's not your fault if you're bringing relevant traffic if the whole customer journey sucks. So you need to make sure that you also when you do have a good amount of traffic, a good amount of sample size, to also work on that part.
thank you a lot, Dimitris. Where can people find you? Where are you
So
available?
yeah, I'm mostly available on LinkedIn, so people could reach out to me anytime. I have my personal website, dimitridragatzis.com. There's a form if you want to help you or work with me. I'm very open, like even like mentor you for free, or like ask any question, or like even have a question based um, on the presentation. But yeah, mostly I'm very active on LinkedIn, so drop me a message and we can take it from there.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Please subscribe to Duda on their website, and you'll join many more interesting webinars. And thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day ahead.